Hey, what's up, podcast listeners? This is Drew Taylor and Andy Searles, and we are two local pastors and friends and Castleberry residents. We live in Castleberry, and our goal each week on our podcast is to share about what's going on through a casual conversation about Castleberry. We are talking for the good of Castleberry or for Castleberry about Castleberry subjects, and ultimately this is by and with Castleberry residents. So Andy, how are you, my friend? What's going on in your world?
I've had a rough week, Drew. I have been fighting with this cough. I felt okay, been able to do what I want, but I'm really nervous about the pod today, and I'm downing lots and lots of water just to try and get through it. So we'll spend our voice today fully committed to the pod, even though we may not be able to speak this afternoon.
That's perfect, and you're right. That is important. Our voices are what pay the bills, but
pay the bills because we're making a lot of money doing this.
But we are playing hurt on this Castleberry podcast. Even though one of us is a little under the weather, we want to produce only the best content, sick or healthy. We are for it and for you. Andy, for our Castleberry in the News segment, this is a time where we like to share what's going on, what we're hearing about, what we're observing in the world around us in Castleberry. We have a topic today that is of interest to both of us, particularly you in light of kind of where you're at as a family.
Yeah, so I want to talk about traffic. As I was looking through the Google alerts this week, sadly, our traffic situation was in the news because here, where we're recording right at the church, there was a tragic accident involving a 19-year-old young man. And our thoughts and prayers go out to the families. And we certainly offer our condolences for that tragic situation. But, you know, Castleberry, we've been a drive-through city for a long time. We're surrounded by big and busy roads. And, you know, some would say we have some traffic challenges. And as a parent, I am especially tuned into those this week because my daughter is having her driver's license. And it feels like a rite of passage for Tracy and I as parents. But it's kind of put the traffic situation front and center for me. What are your thoughts on the traffic situation here in Castleberry, Drew?
Yeah, absolutely. That is, it was extremely tragic, of course, to drive in last week and see the accident scene. On a positive note, for me as a minister here in Castleberry, I have had the privilege to actually speak to and pray with various friends and family of the young man who is deceased. And so, as Andy said, our thoughts and prayers go out to that family and the continued aftermath. But as far as driving in particular, I think you hit the nail on the head. Castleberry is uniquely located around some busy roads and with lots of business and highways and byways. We're near I-4, we're near the 417. And so there's, of course, going to be some larger amounts of traffic, volume of traffic. However, within the city limits, we really get into the neighborhoods, into the private streets, and the speed limit reduces dramatically. And so my great encouragement to all of us collectively is to be conscious and be aware when we're driving in our neighborhoods, in our local areas around the school, for example, or local parks. Just be aware. One of the highlights of living in this city is it's very walkable. It's very accessible by bicycle. And in fact, Bill Hufford, our city commissioner, touched on that in a previous episode of this podcast. And so we need to be consciously aware and mindful of the fact that there are walkers, there are bikers, and that the speed limit does drop. So I guess that's maybe a charge, an encouragement, a challenge to all of us. And I'm speaking to myself as well. Let's be conscious out there and be good drivers.
Yeah, Drew, I've often been on ride-alongs with the Castleberry Police Department, and I know they've put a lot of resource recently into trying to control our traffic a little bit more. And it's fascinating when you go out in a police car and you've got the markings and the brandings on the side and the lights on the top. When people see you, even from a distance, you can physically see their speed kind of drop. And I'm grateful for the accountability that the police give, but really that accountability for being a safe driver is on all of us. And again, I'm speaking to myself. I've got more tickets than I should over the years, but I'm learning to drive a little bit safer, because it's a responsibility that we all have. So, our counsel is be safe out there.
Yes, and thank you to the Castleberry Police Department. I also will confess on the air, I've gotten a ticket or two, but very thankful for them and their diligence to care for the citizens of Castleberry. All right, Andy, let's take a moment now to answer a listener question from an online request. This is the way in which we receive feedback from you, the listeners. There's multiple ways to interact with us through our different means of communication. We have a Facebook page, an Instagram page, as well as a podcast feed. All three are titled What's Up Castleberry. So please leave us a comment, leave us a review, ask us a question that you'd like us to perhaps discuss on the air. Today's listener question is this. In episode 3, you guys said that Castleberry Elementary School received an A grade. How does this school earn an A grade, and what does that mean? Wow, somebody listened to one of our episodes.
That's right. I wanted a follow-up question. That's great. So over, I think it was last summer, our teachers and our principals were celebrating the school grades coming out. Our middle school, I believe, moved up a grade, and elementary school became an A school. And that's a big deal. I think that grade is based on student academic performances in several key core curriculum. And I know that if you go into Miss Lambert's office there, she's got charts and Excel files kind of tracking everything, and really getting involved in the numbers to see where they're going. And so I think it's a pretty stringent internal process that determines your grade. But there are all kinds of benefits for that. Obviously for the school, in terms of more resources and school pride and success. In order to get an A grade, that tells you that the students are applying themselves and learning and growing as they should. And so that's a real celebration for the future generations. But looking from the outside in, I think there are lots of benefits for a city as well surrounding an A grade. Because when people see that the school is A rated, they're more prone to move in or bring their business to the city. And as they move into the city, that stimulates our economy. And when our economy is stimulated, that allows that the city has more resource to invest into our community as well, and things like our parks and our roads and our infrastructure. So really, when that grade goes up, everybody wins. And so I would congratulate all those at Castleberry Elementary School who've worked so hard to get that A, and super proud of South Seminole Academy as well, who is on track, continuing to get better as well.
That's right. And we are, as Andy said, just extremely proud. And also just note that success breeds success. And when we collectively come together as a community, like Castleberry Elementary deserves praise and recognition for being an A school. It just brings about pride from the children to the parents, to the teachers, to the administration, to the entire community. So well done. And we're very, very proud of you.
Have you heard the phrase, a rising tide lifts all boats? Have you heard of that? That's one of the principles that I think is so important in community development, because we've got all these different sectors of our community, right? Our education, our government, our law enforcement, our businesses, our homeowners, our nonprofits, our churches. And when one of those gets better, it challenges everything else to get better. And I'm really excited and proud that we live in a city where one boat gets higher, it makes us all better as well. And what a blessing that is.
I like that. So keep charging away and keep pushing us forward, Castleberry Elementary School. We're very proud of you.
When a podcast gets better, do other things get better?
Oh, yeah, maybe. Other mediums, sure, absolutely.
Right. If you were to give a podcast a grade, what would you give it?
Oh, man. No, TBD. We got room to grow for sure. Not you, just me. Well, thank you for the listener question today. That was great. All right, at this time, let's hear a word from today's sponsor. Today's sponsor is Platinum Signs. Platinum Signs, I'm reading right off the website here, is a premier business specializing...
It's a business-to-business business.
That's right. They're all about business at Platinum Signs. They specialize in high-quality signs, printing, and promotional products. Platinum Signs started in 2006, where one of our friends, Chamber of Commerce member, Yesha Patel, and her husband, Jay, started the business. And they've now branched out from Castleberry to also having an Oviedo location. They take time with every client to take projects from concept to completion, no matter the size. For Andy and I and our What's Up Castleberry podcast studio, we have a nice 8-foot step and repeat, which they've done excellent work on. You've seen the pictures on our social media page. Additionally, they work with t-shirts, custom logos, office supplies, awards, anything you might need for personal or business. Platinum Designs has your solution there.
One of the reasons that we love Platinum Signs is because they're local. We want to support local business because that's one of those boats that when that rises, everything gets better as well.
Nice segue, nice tie-in. There you go. Platinum Signs is today's sponsor.
All right, welcome back, listeners. We are thrilled to have a very special guest with you today. One of, I have to confess, one of my favorite people in the world.
Yes.
Vickie Martin and I
Thank you.
have been friends for a long time. And we have a lot of water under the bridge in terms of projects we've worked on together and challenges we've faced and overcome together. And Vickie is now serving, and has for the last several years, as the executive director at Christian Help right here in Castleberry. People often drive by Christian Help and wonder what it is. And I believe that Christian Help is one of the best kept secrets in our city. Got this little building on Seminole, but from that little building, from that little hub, comes all kinds of opportunity that fulfills hopes and realizes dreams and makes every year thousands of lives better. So would you join me? Drew, get ready to give a round of applause because you are our audience in welcoming our special guest today, Vickie Martin from Christian Help.
Well, thank you.
Fanfare all about.
That's great.
Vickie, tell us a little bit about yourself and your professional journey and how you got involved in Christian Help. I know there's a special story there.
Thank you. Yes, it is special because it really just means so much to me to now be leading a ministry that once served me. I've actually been in leadership a long time, about 26 years now. I've been blessed to have a career.
You started when you were like 3 or 4?
Exactly. Right. Very young, you know. That's what I believe in. Start young. I was always telling people probably what to do, my mom would say, but, you know.
Yeah, that's right.
I didn't get paid for it till later.
That's right. We can't call someone bossy anymore.
That's right.
They're leaders.
The leaders. That's right. I was always a leader. But I was in leadership and I was certainly working, but there were aspects of my life that were just not working and that were falling apart. And I found myself in need to be a client of Christian Help. So I was introduced to them about 20 years ago. They helped me and my family with food that we needed and Christmas for my children and just some great counsel and really just accountability for me. So that, I believe, began a better journey for me in the fact that I got my life together and was able to continue working and no longer need their services, but then could in turn volunteer at Christian Help. So I started volunteering, eventually became a board member. And then as I was still working about 10 years into my career there, someone had said, well, now that you've been a volunteer, you should go to the next level. And then about 6 years ago, someone said, I think now it's time for you to actually lead this ministry. So it's been neat to come full circle and more than just that, because I love the ministry so much and it helped me. But it's really something to see how so much of my past background in my working profession I'm able to use now, whether it's marketing, finance, hiring, teaching, public speaking. I get to do all of that now. So it's really great.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And that adds a lot of integrity to the organization as well. That you're not just someone who sits in this kind of ivy tower leading this ministry. You've been near where those that you serve are. You've lived that life. You know of the struggles. You know of the frustrations.
Mm-hmm, absolutely.
Yeah. So since you know so much about the organization, have been a part, as you said, for many, many years, tell the listener, what is Christian Help? What is the title and the name mean? How long has Christian Help been in Castleberry? What's the purpose of the organization?
We really exist to help people find their best life possible. And I think that we do that through coming alongside people and finding out what is their situation, what is their story, and what do they need that we can help with, what do they not know that we do. And I find that in describing all of that, it usually comes back to employment and to work, that there's always that need in the equation somewhere. Either people are not working or they're not working in the field that they need to, earning the money that they need to. And so we really like to help them figure that out and be able to stand on their own 2 feet. We call it empowering family independence. And so that's really our sweet spot and specialty, is we want to help people find the work that they need. But there's always so much more to it than that, right? And so we have a lot of great supports that surround a family that are going through hard times, whether it's our extensive food pantry that we make available to them, or our Christmas program, or certain resources and community partners that we have, whether it's, professional wardrobe or health care and whatever it is, right? We want to come alongside and say, hey, let's help you have the life that you need here in Central Florida so that you don't need our services at some point. And we've been doing that 28 years, and in Castleberry itself, 20 years.
Wow, that's amazing. The 2 words that really stick out to me, Vickie, and what we were sharing, help and empowerment. I think for so many, the view of help, whether it's government agency, individual donations, it's, hey, I'm in a position of need, right? So a perspective might be, well, I'm responsible to give, and maybe there's not a building up, right? A helping up, but empowerment implies that we're walking alongside with you, and also the call to, hey, you yourself walk these steps, and we're going to be there to support.
Sure.
Which I love.
And that really has come out, I believe, of my story that I shared earlier, because I believe that is how I was helped, and that's the difference that it made. And I continue to see that with people over and over again, that if you do involve them in their own process to wellness, and have them be invested in it, and don't try and put a solution on them, but require something of them, they not only learn a lot, but their dignity is in play, and it really does make a difference. And I think the way that we do that, not only in the empowerment model, but just the kindness, really matters. And so the HELP in our name stands for hope, encouragement, love, and prayer. That is really our methodology of how we do what we do.
Hope, encouragement, love, and prayer. Vickie, I don't think I've ever met anybody who doesn't need a little bit more hope, encouragement, love, and prayer.
Exactly. You don't have to be without work for that.
That's right. And I love that that's what you dispense from your little office there on Seminole. I was recently reading a transcript of a speech by Martin Luther King. And Vickie, he was talking about the parable of the Good Samaritan, right? And the idea is that there's a guy who's hurting, and the one who shouldn't help stopped to help and provided some short-term, immediate assistance. And I know as Christian Help, you do that. You have the food pantry and other ways to help people immediately. But Dr. King also went on to say that he hoped one day that through his life and legacy, he would be able to change the Jericho Road. And what he meant by that was that he wanted to help short-term needs that you do, but he also wanted to make the way smoother and straighter for people. And I think that helping them with employment is one of those things that if people can get that right, there are lots of other needs in their life that fall into place as well. And so I commend you both for helping in the short term, but also helping people address their long term as well. Perhaps you could share with us some statistics about the impact that you have, and maybe even a story or two about how you're changing lives.
Be glad to, because the numbers are big, and so we're proud to be affecting so many people, and who would not love that? It's about 6,000 to 7,000 people a year we're connecting with a job, and that definitely is a difference maker. It's really great to know that this past Christmas we helped over 800 children have a Christmas and not go without, and that's always fun and a blessing. And then just year in and year out, we are distributing 800, almost sometimes 1 million pounds of food back out into the community, to families in Central Florida. Florida that need it. And then we have remote classes we're teaching all around the community. I was just teaching men at the Orange County Jail yesterday how to get a job upon their release. We teach culinary graduates at Second Harvest Food Bank how to get a job when they've graduated their culinary program. And that's about 125 students a year. So it really is great to be part of that. But at the end of the day, to me and to our team, it always comes down to one, the power of one. We are blessed again to help so many people, but our heart really is to help the one, because if you are the one in need, that's really all that matters, and I think it's important for people to know that we're not so-called in business to help the masses. And if the masses go away, that we're not going to be there, because for us, it's the power of one. And I think of Teresa that we're helping right now, who I met Teresa while she was still in jail at Seminole County. And when she was released, came to us for assistance. But her first barrier to employment is she's not able to read.
Wow.
And she is not a young woman, and she's never had the assistance to read. And so again, to my earlier point, wanting to address the barriers to employment, that was first and foremost.
Yeah.
So we started paying for transportation and the classes for her to get to a community partners reading program. So she's learning to read and have her life changed.
Wow.
We're helping her find employment right now for what she can do without that skill. We're looking forward to what she will be able to do when she gets that skill. But then in the meantime, she also has a son that she's responsible for, and they are not making ends meet. And so it's our privilege to come alongside them, make sure that they have groceries every other week and filling up their carload and taking care of somebody like Teresa. So that's, who we help. But then you look at another spectrum of a gentleman that was an executive who lost his job due to downsizing and thought for sure with his education experience he'd be able to find something.
Sure. Yeah.
But by the time he came to us, he had already lost his home and his car and was becoming a homeless statistic. And it was just a real crisis. And he came to us saying, please help me out. I don't know how to do this. And we did. And so we helped him put one foot in front of the other with hope, encouragement, love, and prayer, as well as the practical of our food pantry and some resources and interview skills. Helped him literally reinvent himself. And so now he has a new career and has housing and is back on track again.
Wow.
One of the things I really admire, Vickie, I remember an early conversation, this was, 2 or 3 years ago, walked over, kind of new to my role here at Willow Creek, and just saying, hey, we're a financial partner, a support. We have a great relationship here with you. And one of the things I asked was, what are some specific ways in which we can kind of come alongside and assist? And your answer essentially was, whatever you're willing to do, we'll find a place. As you were sharing the different accounts of folks you've worked with on various scales, I almost think the letter F. It doesn't fit the acronym, but flexibility.
Christian health.
Oh.
Christian health.
Christian health.
We've got new branding stuff right here today.
Can't take the prayer out, but just add the F in there. But flexibility, just the fact that Christian Help is uniquely equipped to be flexible in the services that you provide to individuals. It's not a cookie cutter program per se where it's, hey, you have to enter in this avenue, but it's like, no, where are you? And let's see how we can get from where you are to where you want to be. And I just really admire that.
Thank
about
you.
the
Thanks
organization.
for recognizing that. I do think that is definitely part of who we are. And it is the nice thing about the way that we're managed and the size that we are. So we're big enough to do great things in all of Central Florida, but we're small enough to where it's our team being able to react in a moment of need and say, we've got that, we can do this, we can go get that, here's who we know. So I do talk about this customizable approach. And I think that really is the sincere effort of meeting people right where they are, as opposed to hoping that they fit the program that you want to put on them.
Yeah, care has to be customized because everybody needs a different kind of care. And I love that you can do that. Vickie, we hear a lot about the employment situation nationally, especially as we're kind of gearing up to the election. And employment is vital to building a thriving community. What are some trends that you're seeing in this area of employment among your clients, among the workforce?
It's a sad question to answer because I'd love to have the positive and there are so many wonderful things about Central Florida, about Castleberry in particular. I've lived here long enough to really see Castleberry grow up and out on their own, which is awesome. But we're all also, if we're in touch with our community at all, we're also very aware of the reality that the wages and the cost of living are just not keeping up. And so we see so many clients, always still a good portion that are unemployed. The size of our community is always going to dictate that there's going to be tens of thousands in Central Florida unemployed. Right. But the rising number that's getting everyone's attention, at ours as well, is this underemployed number that's in the 10% plus range, to where you've got people that are working, but they're just not making enough. And so they're having to work an additional job. So a lot of our clients are coming to us saying, if there's not a way at this point for me to level up, and if there is, would you help me with that? Yeah. But if there's not, then can you just point me to where I could find an additional job? How do I do that? How do I do it quickly? And then we're seeing also many that are trying to double up in their housing circumstance, in their housing situation, to where they can't afford to live on their own. So we've got multiple families now living in a single family home because everybody's sharing the load of the rent, if that's their situation. And then another trend we're seeing is a large Hispanic population that's moving to Central Florida and has been for the last few years, but it's increasing. And these are folks that do not have the English language down yet. And so we may be encouraging them and helping them find those classes, which, I know Willow Creek Church has one available, and there's other partners that have those classes available. But the question remains, until your English is maybe where it should be to make you more employable, what do? They still need to work. Yeah. And so that's a concern as well, is where can we help our neighbors that do not have the English language mastered, that still need to work? Where can we help them find employment? So those are some of the issues we're working on.
Those are some big challenges. But again, that's why that flexibility is so important.
Right.
And you do that.
Being able to respond.
Yeah, Vickie, you've highlighted Willow Creek, and we really appreciate and enjoy our partnership with you, Church Together, as well. Supports not only financially, but with time and effort. But for our listeners here, I can imagine there's folks listening right now that have sort of this heartstring pull of wanting to come alongside and help in some way. What are some needs that you have, or what are some ways for folks to kind of jump in and partner with Christian Help?
Oh, we always love that question. Thank you.
Good. Glad I could toss you that.
That's a good one. That's great. Well, I think first, I'm happy to answer that because I really trust the organization that I serve at, that I myself give my time and treasure to as well. And I think it's important for folks to know that we do have a lot of needs, but they can give or serve in an organization that they can trust, that has integrity. And of course, dollars are always needed. That's the way that it runs. I say that we are often providing community solutions to community problems, and therefore the community funds it. And in the months of March and April, we have a donor that's going to give us $50,000 to match any $50,000 that we raise. So if someone gives $1, it becomes $2, and so forth. So that there is that.
There's the call. So Castleberry, we want to see $50,000 collectively raised. Let's do it.
That's right. But one of our labor strategies, and the way that we're able to keep our expenses down, to take the donations we receive and put them into programs, because we don't receive any federal or state funding, is through volunteers and through service. And to your original question on point, we love it when we get phone calls that say, okay, I heard what you had to say, just talk to me. Is there a place for me? What can I do? Or here's the gift that I have to give in my, my experience or my talent, or here's the type of time I have. Is that going to work for you? And just like for our clients, we want to then become flexible. We want to get in relationship with that person to hear their heart, their passion, so that they know that they really are making a difference. And so if someone's got time, treasure, that's great. Talent, we appreciate it. We'll take it. But if they just want to know that they can just refer people to us, we actually are always looking for clients, like any business is looking for customers. So we're happy to help their friends and family and be that source for the community if they know that they've got a good place they can refer people that they care about too. And so we would love their help in that way as well.
That's great. So I'd encourage folks to go to your website, christianhelp.org, and see how they can make a difference. Because a strong community is made up of people who are giving of their time and their talents to make a difference in other lives. Vickie, this has been great. We're about to wrap up, but just a couple of other questions. Drew and I both realize we're not particularly good interviewers. I mean, Drew's up all night watching Jimmy Fallon just to get some pointers, but we're not there yet. So, penultimate question. If you wanted to ask us... No, let me see. I told you. If you wanted us to ask you a question,
there it is,
for you to answer, what question would that be? And what would your answer be?
I would want you to say, well, Vickie, tell us about some new things that we can expect from Christian Help this year.
Vickie, I have a question. Tell us about some new things that are happening in Christian Help this year.
Great. I'd be glad to, Andy. Thank you. Actually, I want to just put some teasers out there because we are working on some new initiatives and some new events this year that I don't quite want to give away yet, but I want to encourage the community to be following us on Facebook or looking at our website and opening up our emails if you get them type of thing, because we've got two new events that are going to both bring the community together as well as pull some nonprofits out of silos, and we're going to be working together.
I love that.
Yes, so there's two events that I think are really going to be of interest to the community this year to get involved in, and that will happen in the summer and in the fall. So looking forward to those, as well as we have some more opportunities to take our job search tactic curriculum into more groups, one of those being in Seminole County, right up the road from us. And so you're going to hear more about some things we're doing with a pretty big partner in this community that we're going to be doing. So that's all I can say about that.
Well, you didn't give anything away, but you certainly gave us a teaser there.
Piqued our interest.
I'm gonna read your emails even more intently now.
There you go. Good.
And you can subscribe to the emails by checking out christianhelp.org, signing up.
Yes, just go to our website, and there is a button there that you can get on our email list. And we do not do that a lot, so people can know that we're not going to get a lot of spam and an email every day and all that kind of thing. Like, we like to think that when we send you something, it's because we've got something to say. Outside of that, we're all busy.
As someone who receives a lot of spam, I thank you for that.
Yes, so right, we can all relate.
So you've got the Facebook page, Christian Help?
Yes, right. It is. It's just it's Facebook / Christian Help.
Okay, and Twitter and website. And how do people contact you?
And we have our own app now, so you can go to your app store and you can look for the Christian Help app, so that we can be found on your phone at a moment's notice, which is really great. We're excited to have that. But yes, facebook.com / Christian Help, or you can go to christianhelp.org for our website, and then again our app. So if you are serious about reaching out, you'll be able to find us.
That's great. Just a little shout out as a pastor who finds myself in situations where I need to refer people to you a lot. That app is incredibly helpful to find what you got going on, to find numbers quickly, and to get the support that we need for those that we're trying to serve. Vickie, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Your time and sharing it with us is a gift, but I think the bigger gift is perhaps all that you and Christian Help do for our community. Like I say, you're one of those kind of behind-the-scenes superheroes, right? You're in the backgrounds, you're in the shadows, but you are changing lives every single day in our community, and we're very, very grateful for that. So thank you for being with us today.
Thank you so much, both of you. Really appreciate what you do and that you're getting the word out.
Wow, what a great interview. I love the stuff that Vickie and Christian Help are doing, and the lives that they're changing, and the people they're helping get on their feet. Thank you again, Vickie. Drew, as we prepare to close, you have some words of inspiration from an unconventional source today. So close us out with a inspiring thought.
I do, Andy. Anyone that knows me knows that The Office, the now defunct show from NBC that still is being streamed on Netflix, is my all-time favorite show. And the very last line of the show, as it concluded, is this. This quote says, "There's a lot of beauty in ordinary things. Isn't that kind of the point?" And that was Pam Beesly, better known as the actress Jenna Fisher, who shared that line from The Office. And, as I look outside my window and just reflect on the beauty of Castleberry, of Central Florida, of just the state of Florida, living in this time and season of life. We really are blessed. There's just something so beautiful about ordinary things, like a sunset, like a child playing on a playground, like a husband and a wife holding hands and walking down the street. So take a moment this week, even today, and reflect on what are the sort of seemingly ordinary things that actually are quite beautiful in the sight of creation around us.
Drew, thank you so much for that thought, and thank you, NBC, for that thought as well. We hope you've enjoyed this episode of What's Up Castleberry, a casual conversation within our community about our community. This podcast is produced by James Bittner. The music is provided by Jeremy Birdsall. The graphics by Christian Moscoso. And today's sponsor is again Platinum Signs. For more information, please be sure to check out our Facebook page, Instagram, or the podcast feed, all with the name What's Up Castleberry. Like and subscribe to our podcast, and please rate and review us. Until next time, we hope that you have a great week.